So all the kids who are part of the Orthodox Church in the other eastern side of the world, they're all excited today. Instead of opening their presents as our kids did on December 25th, they are going to open their presents tomorrow on the day of the Epiphany, since that is the day that the three kings brought their gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. So if you were an Orthodox youth, for instance, in Russia, tonight you would put one of your shoes outside your bedroom door, and you would fill it with straw. Now I have a visual aid here that's going to help you answer this very important question. Why straw? Thank you. We all know that the camels need something to nibble on because they've been through a long, arduous journey, and when they come to each child's house, they're a little hungry, and they have to have something to nibble, 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 while the good, wise person puts something wonderful in its place. Thank you, Martha. How many of you knew that? Okay, good. More, now you all know. You know, for us, the time of presents is over. The Christmas decorations are, for the most part, put away. Christmas wrapping is already wadded into a baseball, well, maybe a basketball size, slam dunked into the trash bin. The Christmas trees are bundled, waiting for the special collection by the curb. And so it seems time to say goodbye to another Christmas season, even as we say hello to another new year. Given the state of the world this past week, with war and rumors of war, with Australia burning out of control, with Antarctica drowning in floodwaters, with children in our own country still languishing in cages, this particular new year is off to a rough and a frightening start. One has to wonder, perhaps we who claim the status of adults forgot to leave enough straw. Perhaps we have been looking in the wrong places for the wise men and the wise women. I'm recalling Mr. Rogers always said, in times of trouble, look for the helpers. I'm thinking the helpers are the wise ones among us. So let's get real. Just a couple of weeks ago, actually, Christmas was in the air. The songs were sung. Today we ask, really? How has the Christ child changed us, if at all? Is the world any different because we hung our Christmas stockings with care? How did singing, "Joy to the world, the Lord has come," or better yet, "Silent night, holy night," how did that make any difference? Some would say that the spirit of Christmas promises so much, but it delivers so little. As we can all sense, the earth is teetering with fear, and our own fear is a part of it. So today is a new year, but don't our struggles seem no better today than they were on December the 24th? Here's the question for today. What gives us strength to begin a new year with hope, with courage? So I just want to talk a minute about this season that we call Epiphany. Some would say that Epiphany is the most important liturgical season that we have, because this is the season, this day and the weeks to come, through which we come to see who Jesus is and where he can be found. Someone described it like the incarnation is like something heavy thrown into a beautiful pool, and the ripples just go out and out and out. In the next few weeks, the ripples of who Jesus is are going to get wider and wider. It started with Mary. It started with Joseph. It went to the shepherds, now to the kings. Get ready the next few weeks. Those ripples continue, and they all show us who Jesus was. And if we know who Jesus was, we know who we are. We know who we are called to be in a dark world. And so that's what we lean into in the season of Epiphany, through Lent, actually, and at Easter. The world is dark. The weird thing is, this is the strange thing, we get used to dark. We say, well, that's just the way the world is. It's not going to change. Always been that way. Yep, that's the world for you. Dark place. Which is truly, I drove in the dark this morning. It's true. It is daggone dark out there. But it's dark in so many ways. You know, John opens his gospel joyfully, singing, in Jesus was life. And the life was what? The light. The light of the world. The light shines in darkness. And get this, the darkness did not overcome it. Hard to believe. This same Jesus, in his Sermon on the Mount, has called us, his disciples, to be the light of the world. And that is exactly what Epiphany is about. It's all about the light of Jesus coming into the world. It's about knowing ourselves as the light of the world. You might ask, I know I ask this of myself, how am I the light of the world? For heaven's sakes, how do we bring light? And that is what we will be listening for, praying about as we gather in the coming weeks of Epiphany. Hearing again the stories of Jesus, quotes from the Apostle Paul, poet gems from the prophets, singing the lyrics of the Psalms. So I see Mike's thinking I'm done. Not so fast, Mike. Not so fast. No, first of all, let's just talk a moment more. Let's just go back to this nativity set, this creche that is about to be put away. Last week we heard that Jesus' birth took place at a specific time, in the time of King Herod. We heard it again today. Last week Scott did such a fine job preaching about actually what a sociopath the man was. He was a horror. So in these 6 words, in the time of King Herod, it's actually more than a temporal marker. It highlights a specific cultural, social, political climate. It was a time of extreme darkness. And as we know, darkness is always threatened by light. Let's say that again. Darkness is always threatened by light. So we hear these words. When King Herod heard the message of the Magi, he was frightened. He was in turmoil, and all of Jerusalem with him. Imagine that. These powers and principalities were so frightened that they were even willing to annihilate any glimmer of God's salvation at hand. It's not only that. When we say, in the time of King Herod, these words are also a gesture of the imminent fulfillment of God's purpose, God's kingdom, represented in this newborn prince of peace, who embodies steadfast resistance to all systems of violence. Even in the time of King Herod, when it seems impossible and precarious, when all creation yearns and groans under many years of oppression from an unyielding empire, the entrance of Jesus into the world activates reverberations, those concentric waves going out. Even then, waves that were found and heard and felt by wise men thousands of miles away. It went out that far, way off in a foreign country, simply attending to the stars. So, my friends, aren't we too some of those people, thousands of miles away, hundreds of years later? Here we are with not much more than a little straw in our hand, but we are called to begin where we left off last year, and yet we are called to make a new beginning. It's an old choice and a new chance for the world. After all, the world is not going to change unless we change. Isn't that scary? Isn't that promising? Each one of us will go out today and we will meet the darkness, and because of us, the world will see light. We too put out our meager straws of hope so that the wise men can leave their gifts for us as well. Amen.